This Tennessee Lottery 250 edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by BIRDDOGS Shorts. Dominate your summer with an amazing pair of shorts and a free Yeti style tumbler when you order over at birddogs.com/pool. That's birddogs.com/pool.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you ask me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Welcome in to another episode of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. If you're watching on YouTube, I absolutely am wearing the same clothes. I don't care. We are taping these back to back. Yes, and we're going for it. We are marathoning these out because we are working on limited time right now. Cody is heading off on vacation here pretty soon, and we're getting all of these episodes in before he goes because
I didn't want to miss any of these pick shows. I am going to miss the DFS show Friday. I'm sad about that, but I know you'll end up with a great guest. You'll have fun. I can't wait to listen. But man, if we got the odds in time, the plan was to get these all in. I'm glad we are cranking it out. Leave for vacation Wednesday morning, so I'm excited. I'll be at the lake while you're listening to this, most likely. So yeah, but still, I'm excited for these races this weekend. I know you couldn't see it, but as the intro video is playing, Rod and I are still able to see each other. And it was great because he got up and he left and I couldn't see him. And then he sits back down, he blows his nose and then throws the Kleenex down. And then boom, we jump on the screen and he just jumps right into it. That's why I was laughing there a little bit because I was like, wow, the impeccable timing, true professional over here.
I've done my fair share of live shoots where you only have but a couple of seconds to react to anything that happens. And
I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to open this if he doesn't make it back in time? Here we are. Rod's coming. Don't worry. He shows back up just in time and I didn't have to worry about it.
Like I said, this is not my first rodeo, so I'm pretty. I know how to make this work. But yeah, we are here, of course, day or episode 2 of the night, but doesn't matter. It's the Xfinity episode. We're gonna have just as much fun as we did in the Cup episode. We'll say things like yesterday. We'll say things like tomorrow or whatever because that's what you do. But for those of you listening and those of you in the know.
You may or may not know, but we've done that before where we've recorded multiple shows on the same day and it sounds like it's on a different day. We even change our shirts sometimes, so it looks different on YouTube.
We've done that before. I mean, listen, bear with us, man. I mean, this is what you get. It's all fun and it's all free. So definitely hang with us through the craziness that is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. Again, it is the Tennessee Lottery 250. We are in Nashville, all 3 series, having some fun over there, close to the Music City. I won't even say that it's there. It's in Lebanon, Tennessee.
And yesterday on the Cup show.
I tell you this because I always love to give the cities that they're in the proper recognition because I know that as a city, you work very hard to get the recognition. And when they're always like, well, it's Nashville. Well, no, it's close to Nashville, but it's not really Nashville. So Lebanon, Tennessee is its own city. It's its own identity. Give it its props. So you got it, Lebanon. I know it's called the Nashville Speedway, but
like Gateway a couple weeks ago where they say St. Louis and it's not even in the same state as St. Louis. It's like, give Madison, Illinois some love. All right.
No, they're like, oh, look at the arch. And like, yeah, that's across the way from
river in a different state.
No, it's Madison, Illinois. That's why it's called the Enjoy Illinois
Probably why they named it that, so you'd be clear this isn't St. Louis, Missouri.
Like, come on now. But yes, again, it is 188 laps around this mile, 0.33333. Put a line over it. Track for 250 miles on this. A lot of fun to be had. It's just and good to be back in the saddle for NASCAR, because after a week off, I mean, we had fun over the course of the off week, obviously winning some bets. Obviously, if you don't listen to the Cup episode first, we did have some IndyCar stuff and had some fun with that, but it's good to be back for NASCAR this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, we did have a lot of fun with the off-season stuff last week, but to be back into the flow, have races to bet on, have odds up, I love it, and I'm excited. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Again, Nashville. We talked about it on yesterday's Cup Series Pick Show, but it's a track that's been around a little while. Had Xfinity before. But obviously had been closed for 10 years, reopened in 21. So we've got 2 seasons worth of Xfinity now, recent Xfinity. That's all you're really going to look at anyways, to look back on.
Yeah, because I don't think Greg Biffle and Scott Riggs and Carl Edwards days are going to do us any good.
Yeah, if that Roush 60 car was still racing, then maybe you'd throw some money on that, because I'm pretty sure those guys all probably won in that same car, but not the case anymore.
Yeah. Well, listen, even Kevin Harvick, Brad Keselowski, all past winners in the Xfinity Series here. I mean, you got to go all the way back to like 2011 for all of that to happen, but they came here twice a year as far as the Xfinity Series was concerned. That's a lot.
Yeah, you'd have to look back, but I wonder how many other tracks have Xfinity twice and don't have Cup Series. That's definitely not something you see very often. So interesting time back then, but a lot has changed. A lot of new faces since then.
Lots of new faces.
All of them, I think.
Yeah, I don't think Kevin Harvick is going to be running on this one as well. So, all right, let's tell you first before we start getting into anything further about the favorite shorts in this world that we all have now. Mine cannot come soon enough. I can't wait to actually show them to you when they get here. They are BIRDDOGS. They make me look good. They'll make you look good as well. Why? Because they're stretch khaki shorts designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and the leg, not only giving you a truly sculpted look, but turning heads along the way. They do the exact same thing that Lululemon does. Obviously, they fit better. Obviously, the price is better. And BIRDDOGS fit also better than those old shorts that you got that are stiff, cotton, just terrible shorts that you buy from, I don't even want to say the other competitors' names. You don't need to know them. You know them because you have them in your closet. BIRDDOGS has fixed the issue of all that by inventing cloud knit fabric. They look just like khakis, but stretch. So you get a way slimmer fit without having to sacrifice on movement. Most importantly, they use the anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keep you cool and dry all day long. Everybody needs a pair of BIRDDOGS shorts, especially if you're mowing the lawn this summer, if you're out on the beach this summer, if you're landlocked this summer and in a really hot place that you need to control what Cody likes to refer to as your swamp ass. You need that. Make sure you get down on some BIRDDOGS right now. Go to birddogs.com/pool. Enter promo code POOL for a free Yeti style tumblers if you needed any other reason to get in on it with your order. That's birddogs.com/pool for a free Yeti style tumbler. You won't want to take your BIRDDOGS off. We absolutely promise you.
We're going to be at the lake, the amusement park, the water park this weekend, Swamp Ass Central. Good thing I've got this BIRDDOGS to help wick that away.
Wicking, just like saying the anti-stink sweat wicking. That's probably the most fun thing I'll ever say today.
That is a great line. Back to the Xfinity race. We do have an entry list, 41 entries for 38 spots for this one. Some notable guys on this list. AJ Allmendinger is going to be in the 10 car. Ty Gibbs in the 19 car. Zane Smith in the 28 that Eric Almirola won with at Sonoma there. Carson Hocevar is back in the 77. And Chad Chastain is in the 91. You would have faded Ross Chastain had he been in that car. If you get a chance to fade Chad, definitely fade him because he sucks. And sorry, Chad, but facts. So yeah, if you see Chastain, don't think it's Ross. Not that it matters anyways, because we don't like to bet. We like to bet against him early, but yeah, Chad not usually getting good results. So, but yeah, you got a couple heavy hitters, right? The defending champion, the defending full season champion and the defending regular season champion, both back this week in the Xfinity Series.
It's going to be interesting, obviously, because we talk a lot about the fact that this season, or this series rather, is a little more up in the air. Even when these Cup guys are there, it's not always a slam dunk that the Cup guy's going to walk away with it. Obviously, in the Truck Series, we tend to see that when Kyle Busch is in there, Kyle Busch usually wins. Now, of course, this season has been a little different.
Lately, yeah,
this season's been a little different. But yeah, for the Xfinity Series, these regulars really do kind of hold serve against the Cup guys, and I think it's because they get more practice against the Cup guys. Honestly, Truck guys, they don't necessarily get it. Kyle Busch will come down, Ross Chastain, William Byron, but I feel like with the Xfinity guys, they either come up more or the Cup guys go down more to the Xfinity, so they get a little more exposure to the Cup guys, so they're not necessarily as intimidated by them as most. Especially some of these JRM drivers, these Gibbs drivers. It just doesn't seem to phase them nearly as much. And maybe it's the class of drivers that are happening nowadays, because you look at JRM stable, right? The Berries, the Allgaiers, the Myers, like all these guys, they're pretty hefty when it comes to their craft. Gibbs, obviously Ty Gibbs coming up too. So, these guys have had an opportunity to be around their big brothers up there in the garage. So I think that's what it is. So again, not necessarily weighing too heavy on these Cup guys being down, but it'll definitely factor into the mix.
I love it, because I've found ways to bet against these Cup guys or take advantage of other guys' numbers being bigger because these Cup guys are in the field. Again, that is a way that it comes in handy when it comes to betting. And yes, these are our 2 Cup guys that have had a lot of success in the Xfinity Series. We're going to talk about both of them, but it's definitely not a shoo-in that these are just going to be the top 2 guys. And honestly, I don't think that will be the case this weekend. So, I think we're in for a really good race. Like you said, these Xfinity Series regulars, these guys are really fucking good. And we see that on a week-to-week basis. And they hold their own even when the Cup guys come down. So, going to be a fun race. Again, the Xfinity Series, some of the best racing week in and week out continuously. And that should be the case again this week in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Lebanon, Tennessee. I absolutely love it.
I'm glad I remembered, because I was scrambling in my brain for a sec. What was the city he said? And then I think I hit it. So,
So is there any news, any notes? I know we had the Cup Series news and notes for SHR.
By the time this episode comes out, it'll likely have been announced that Josh Berry is going to be in the 4 car. We already talked about that on the recap show on Monday. I mean, and we've seen that coming for months at this point. So, yes, that news was announced this morning, I guess. There you go.
Again, the worst kept secret in the entire garage. And look, if it's not, and by the time this comes out, it's not been announced and something else was the big announcement, the major announcement, then we'll be happy to update you on.
Join the Discord. Because if something else big has broken, obviously we've pre-recorded this, so we're not going to talk about it now, but it'll be a discussion in the Discord. Don't worry.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a matter of being able to just say, yep, we knew that and we knew it already. So then my only question though is, if that does happen, right? Then what does that mean for? Does he still race the lower series, right? I mean, what does that mean? Obviously.
Like he's obviously going to finish out this season.
Well, sure.
Next season though, but he'll be in the Ford camp likely, unless Stewart Haas switching to Chevy or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, they have the 98 car. They have the 00 car. Do those guys still have full-time ride? Who knows? There's a lot of questions in the Stewart Haas entire camp. So, but I would imagine likely he'll mostly focus on the Cup Series. There is, there's not I think the rule is in the first 3 seasons of full-time Cup Series competition, they're not limited to the 5 races. Like, Ty Gibbs could run more than 5 races if he wanted to, because it's not, his first, he's not had 3 full-time seasons or whatever. So you might see some, but I wouldn't expect a ton of that. So I think it'll mostly be he'll focus on the Cup Series.
I feel like it'll be a Noah Gragson type situation, because we haven't even seen
haven't seen Noah at all. Yeah. Which has been, man, it always amazes me too. So I'm glad you brought Gragson up, because I was thinking about this earlier. It always amazes me how timing works out so much in some guys' favors and not in other guys' favors. Had it been last year and the number 4 car was opening up, would Noah Gragson have gotten that ride? Instead, he's stuck in the 42 Legacy car that's having a horrible season. He's mentioned he can't wait for next year because it's been so bad. Then they're going to be switching manufacturers. That might be another transition. Like, the timing of how it's worked out for Barry to land the elite ride. And it's crazy because as you go back, like, and obviously guys like Chase Elliott, guys like William Byron, like, they were pretty much destined to get to those cars anyways. But had there been an opening this past season at Hendrick, you know, had this been when Jimmy Johnson was finally leaving, maybe that's when a guy like Gragson gets in a Hendrick car instead of a, like, it's crazy to me the opportunity some guys get just based on how the timing works out. And I think that, since you brought up Gregson's name, something I was thinking of, that's a very interesting thing to me that, you know, had Harvick retired after last season, would Gragson have gotten consideration for that type of ride? What could we have seen from him this year in the 4 car compared to where he's been in the 42 car, which is just, I mean, the equipment is holding him back at this point, right? So the timing is always such an interesting thing, in my opinion. I mean, and granted, the 41 car technically was open, although I think Preetz had already kind of been tapped for that car. The 10 could have been open. You know, again, all about timing, right? But I think it's an interesting thought process.
I think it'd make for a fantastic Marvel what if episode. What if the 48 had stayed as long as Harvick and called it quits now, and then had, you know, this new ride open up and Gragson be in the 48? Where would Bowman be? Where would everybody else be?
Yeah, again, you probably need some type of, you know, drugs or something to make you get into all these deep conspiracy. But like, how things could be so much different if it happened to open up at a different time. And you know, sometimes these guys are uberly talented in their series, and then it's like, well, this is the only ride open, but you want to get advanced to the Cup Series, and so you take the lesser ride, and then it's like, well, he didn't pan out. It's like, yeah, but what if he would have got a shot at better equipment, right? And you know, it's same argument can be made for the quarterback, right? You get drafted by the Cleveland Browns, you know, sorry, you know, but if you'd have, you know, slipped in the draft and went to the Packers and sat behind Brett Favre, maybe you turn out to be great. And you know what I mean? Like, the landing situation obviously matters so much, but the conversation for another day. But I thought that was an interesting thought that I had earlier that I figured I'd share since you brought him up.
No, I love it. I love it a lot. Speaking of timing, now is the perfect time to get down on some Underdog fantasy. Fantasy football is gearing up. I know that a lot of Underdog fantasy best ball folks are starting to put tons and tons of their money into best ball, like Cody right there, for sure. I know that, in fact, top fishbowl folks are starting to talk more and more about some Underdog fantasy best ball as well. Underdog Fantasy Best Ball Mania 4 is here. Underdog is giving away $15 million in prizes. And we are happy to be brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em is also a great way to get down on your favorite MLB and college baseball player props. So many ways to get down on over on Underdog, and so many states that they're active in, including those ones that there are no legal gambling. So you can get down on some player props and yeah, sort of just find a way to gamble on stuff without gambling on stuff, technically. Want to get down on it? Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That is UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN.
So 2 things, Rod. They open up the Chihuahua today, which so they have the big dog is like their $25. Yes. It's got the big prizes, which I love, of course, and I have plenty of entries in that. But I like when they do the smaller ones, right? You got the Chihuahua, yes. It's a $4 entry. You can draft a lot more teams a lot quicker there. And so I enjoy when they do that. So definitely go get in on that. Now it's best ball season. It's always best ball season, but really now it's the heart of it, right? We're in the lull of the summer. I know we have our racing, obviously, but the other big sports are done. The NBA, the NHL just ended. College World Series is going on. That's all about to be over. And so, yeah, it's best ball season. I love this time of year. Secondly, on Thursday, Nebraska here in Lincoln, they're going to open up the first sports book. Finally, you can only go place bets in person. You can construct the bets on the app, but you have to go place them on the kiosk.
Baby steps, man. Like you said,
it's very small baby step. This state is stupid. I hate this state. I love this state. I'm a Husker through and through, but at the same time, I hate the state because they're so backwards and far behind on everything. But we're getting there eventually. Of course, I'll be out of town in a legal betting state, placing a lot of wagers. Thank you, Iowa. Even though I hate Iowa, they're good for that. But so I won't be able to bet on the first day. But I'm going to have to get over there next week when I'm back in town because it's going to be great to be able to place a legal sports wager here in Nebraska finally, even if it's only at one place. At least it's in my city, I guess. There's that. It's not in Omaha. It's here in Lincoln. So take whatever wins you can get at this point, Rod.
Hey, listen, I'll take that over having to drive 3 hours to Nevada in order to place anything. So
yeah, that's what I'm hoping too. I was talking with our buddy Matt Seltz about that earlier because he lives here in Lincoln as well. I had him on the show with me a couple weeks ago, and we're like, hopefully we get somewhat of a selection, right? Like we're not gonna be able to shop a bunch of books. Like hopefully we get some decent odds and decent selections, but again, babies, be happy with what you can get, right?
Indeed. All right. Speaking of what you can get, we shopped around for you as we always do to bring you our favorite Xfinity bets in this Tennessee lottery. 250, like we said, it is 100 and I just had it on here for you. 188 laps around this 1.33 mile. Yes, it is paved track.
I got that right too because I wasn't looking at it. I was just remembering based off what you said earlier. So good thing I was paying attention then.
I was gonna say I'm glad you retained the information because I sure as hell didn't. 250 miles for this 250-mile race. Go figure. It's 250 to 250 this time. Yeah. Hey, this time it actually.
Although the Ally 400 on Sunday is 399 miles. So there's that.
Carry the one. I'm terrible at math, but
it's fine.
All right, but yes, as we always do, we have our favorite bets for you, and we will give them to you right now.
Well, I'm going to start off with Truck Series regular Carson Hocevar, stepping back up into that Spire number 77 this weekend. He's been pretty successful in that car so far this season. I'm going to take him over Chandler Smith, minus 110 over on Superbook. Carson Hocevar, third place in the Truck Series race at Nashville last season. And then his last two races here in the Xfinity Series, 8th place at Charlotte, 6th place at Darlington. Two great races. Again, Darlington, a comparable track to Nashville, right? We talked about on the Cup Series show yesterday / earlier that Darlington, Dover, where the Xfinity guys didn't race, kind of some of the more comparable tracks. Gateway, another one that's sort of comparable. So Carson, third place last year in the Truck Series race, 8th at Charlotte, 6th in Darlington in his two Xfinity Series starts, the two recent ones. And then he was 4th place in the Truck Series at Gateway, again, comparable track. So a lot of success here lately, a lot of success on comp track. And for Chandler Smith, started the season great, right? He had that dominating race early in the season, got the win and everything like that. Been a little bit rough here lately. 13th at Charlotte, 36th at Darlington. Again, I'm not talking about the two road courses last couple of weeks. They don't matter as far as when you're talking about ovals, but 13th at Charlotte, I don't think he did great there either, but 13th at Charlotte, 36th at Darlington, 13th at Dover. I guess Xfinity did race at Dover. That's trucks I was thinking of that didn't race at Dover. But and then he was 15th place in the Truck Series race here last year. And again, he was in really good equipment then. He was in Kyle Busch Motorsports car, right? Or truck, rather. And only a 15th place finish. So for me, Carson Hocevar, the easy pick on this side. This is probably one of my favorite bets on the Xfinity board. So give me Carson Hocevar over Chandler Smith, minus 110 over on Superbook.
You feel bad for Chandler. You really do. It was him. He was doing well enough to make you go, yeah. Because I mean, he's a kid. Obviously, both of the Smiths are barely out of diapers at this point, and you felt bad, and you thought, what wasn't Chandler? Didn't he? He's got the kid, right? Is it Chandler that does? I can't remember now. All these Smiths run together, and honestly, they're literally half my age. So at this point, it's like I don't even know. But yeah, I mean, you feel bad about it. And Hocevar, he's gonna put it together like big time at some point, right? He's gonna have to.
We've seen it, and
I know
the types of tracks that he's good on. He's good on. Like if he's good somewhere, and that's something I've really started noticing in the Truck Series. If he was good there last year, he's gonna be good there again this year. And so I think that's where we have to hit on a guy like that. Another point too, sorry to interrupt you, but the Colleague cars, right, have been struggling. That's been noted in both the Cup Series and the Xfinity Series. It's been overall a pretty struggle for them, even when they've got. I think Kyle Larson did win in that 10 car. Kyle Busch has struggled in the 10 car. Allmendinger, it's been up and down, even on road courses for him. He's had decent finishes, but I don't think he's won either. Maybe he did win one of them. I can't remember at this point. But anyways, and then that Hocevar, he's in the 77 Spire car. That's essentially another Junior Motorsports car. It's created in the Junior Motorsports shop. It's a partnership with Hendrick. It's all interlooped there. It's and Dale Jr. basically referenced that a couple weeks ago. Like Hocevar was in the JRM shop. It's all done there in the JRM shop with the Spire name on it. So it's essentially a very good car, as we've seen based on his last couple of results.
It's like when you put together like a Dollar Tree type of a thing, and you do it in the same factory as one of the bigger names, and literally all it does is just go into a different package. I got all excited about that. Hit the mic. You put it in a different package and ship it out. One goes to the big store, and then one goes to the dollar store. You're eating the same damn thing. It's just packaged differently, made in the same shop. So
gets the plain label slap on it, but it's the same exact product.
Same damn product. All you're doing is just tricking your body into going, oh, this is dollar store something. Whatever. All right. Something that's not dollar store is Justin Allgaier. Definitely not a dollar store driver for sure. And the only reason I'm kind of giving this to you as the chalkiest play that you can is because the price is still not necessarily as chalky as it probably should be. Justin Allgaier, a top 3 finish on this, -120 over there on Caesars. I'm surprised this is not at 150.
What's his average finish here, Rod?
You want to know his average finish on this track? In 8 races, this guy's got 1 win, 5 top 5s, 5 top 10s, average finish of 8.5 on this track. Damn good on this track. And I'm telling you, as a top 3 finish, I don't hate it, because for me, this guy has been just rock solid all season long. The last few races on this track for him, he won in 2022. So last season he won this race. 2021, he finished 2nd. 2011, he finished 4th. 2011, the spring race, he finished 11th. But in 2010, he started on the pole, finished 4th. 2010 in the spring, finished 4th. So, and that wasn't even in the 7 car. Like, he was in a Steve Turner car and a Roger Penske car in some of that. He was in the 31 and the 12, still turning in top 5 finishes just outside of the top 3. So I got to tell you right now, Justin Allgaier to finish inside the top 3 on this track is a solid bet, given the fact that let's look back at what he's done lately. Sonoma, 7th place, road course, I'll toss that out. Portland, 2nd, I'll count that one because it's a good finish, even though it was still a road course. But he won at Charlotte, 2nd at Darlington, 3rd at Dover. Those are the last few races that he's had. Dude's on fire. He's one of the best racers out there in this series. There's just no way that he's not going to finish inside the top 3, especially given the fact that he actually won this race last season. Again, finished 2nd in the first. This guy, he's way too good on this track to be, and he's on a hot streak. So I can never count out Justin Allgaier, especially at -120 for a top 3 finish.
Yeah. And I mean, yeah, you go back and look at the last 2 years, right? It's 1.5 is his average finish over the 2 races since we've returned, because he's got a 1st and a 2nd. That's pretty damn good. So hard to argue against that. That's actually really shocking that it's only -120. I think there's really good value there. I get Gibbs is in the field. I don't even think you can say, yes, Allmendinger's in the field too. In my opinion, that doesn't affect the top 3. So I think that you're getting really good value at only -120 for a guy who's got a 1st and a 2nd the last couple seasons. And again, sure, Gibbs is in the field. Sure, Allmendinger's in the field. Guess who was in the field last year? Gibbs and Allmendinger. Noah Gragson was also in the field, and so he still had those finishes. So I think that's a really good price on that. I'm actually surprised that it's that low. That's kind of shocking in my opinion. So I think that's a great call out. Speaking of AJ Allmendinger, I'm going to fade him here a little bit. I'm going to go with Sam Mayer over AJ Allmendinger, -110 over on Superbook. So originally, this bet was going to be Austin Hill over Sam Mayer, because when that came up, I thought to myself, we love Austin Hill, right? He's so consistent. Sam Mayer, it's been good, but it hasn't. Then I started looking into comp tracks, started looking into this track, and I had to pump the brakes, and I go, whoa, Sam Mayer is actually pretty decent at these types of places, right? And AJ, it's up and down. It's just the college program has just struggled so much. AJ is straight up not having a good time. All the rumors are flying about it. He might be retiring, all this kinds of stuff after this season. So that all concerns me. But you go back and you look at Sam Mayer, right? 8th place at Darlington, a track that, again, we've comped to this track, fairly comparable. 9th place at Dover. Those are strong, solid finishes. He was 5th here last year. He was 5th at Dover last year. He was 4th at Bristol in the fall on the cement, on the concrete, right? So again, proved last year very good on this type of track. Then you come into this season, the 8th at Darlington, the 9th at Dover. Again, nice solid finishes. AJ Allmendinger, 16th here last year. That was during his run up to winning the regular season championship. Still didn't have that great of a performance. He was 6th at Bristol. He was 6th at Dover last season. He's only started road course races so far this season. So obviously you're not really going to be able to compare those as far as Xfinity Series goes. But Sam Mayer, his reliability on comparable tracks this season and last season, I think is a plus for me. Down on Colleague right now, down on Allmendinger on an oval right now. And so I think add it all together, give me Sam Mayer over AJ Allmendinger, -110 over on Superbook.
So I'm going to agree with you on that one and kind of go one further. I was going to put this one later in the document, but since you brought up AJ Allmendinger and Sam Mayer, I think I will just go ahead and throw this in now. I've got Mayer as the winner of Group C over there on Caesars, and he's at +280 to win this. He's over guys like Sammy Smith, Austin Hill, and AJ Allmendinger. Look, you just talked about how Mayer is going to finish better than AJ anyways. And again, it's just AJ Allmendinger. It pains me to say it because obviously I picked him as my new de facto favorite driver last season. And I think I might have done it just because I liked watching him win on road races. I liked watching his passion, but problem with passion is it goes both ways. You can be super passionate and happy, or you can be super passionate and disappointed. So if he's talking about retirement already, I've already had a driver retire on me. So I'm trying to figure out where I go from AJ Allmendinger. But anyways, so the Mayer over Allmendinger thing sort of puts it in perspective. You talked about Mayer's finishes already. And look, Sammy Smith has been solid this season as well. I mean, it's definitely a good story for the kid. They continue to talk about how he just got out of high school and how he just had his high school sweetheart, tell him that he loved her for the first time. I don't know, whatever. That's all these stories that they keep pulling about Sammy Smith. It just week after week. But I mean, again, he's a good story, and I definitely love to see Sammy Smith and the success that he's had so far in the Xfinity Series. But new track to him, right? He's never been on this track before, and it's a matter of him trying to figure out how to get around. And for what we've said, too, as far as how good he's been, I mean, overall, he's only had 3 top 5 finishes, 6 top 10s in 14 races so far. So, again, he's not necessarily been the lights out driver that maybe the announcers make you want to think that he is, or maybe not. So I definitely think Sam Mayer still stands a better shot over him on that one. The only thing that kind of gets me on this, though, is the Austin Hill angle of this. Obviously, we know how good that 21 car is. We talked about it week after week as far as him being dominant. 3 wins, 7 top 5s, 11 top 10s. I mean, this guy can get it done no matter where. The last, 5 races he's had, top 10 finishes. 4 of those have been top 5 finishes. He's on a tear. Like, this guy, he's the only one that would give me pause on this one. But for me, like I said, it's just a matter of, I like the price for this because at +280, you're getting a pretty decent junior motorsports driver. And at almost 3-1, it's good. Austin Hill on this track over the last couple races has had 2 top 10 finishes, a 9th and an 8th. But, if junior motorsports has crossed the finish line first last year, finished 2nd the year before, stands a reason another one could get a top 3 or top 4 finish It's most certainly a top 5 finish. So I think he finishes better than Austin Hill in this race. Be close, Cody. I know you're wincing, but I still think I like the price for this potential.
No, I think the price is right, and I think you actually laid out every case perfectly. I don't really have anything else to add to it. Dinger, I already made the case against him, right? Sammy Smith, I love to bet on the guy. He's so fast every week, but it's the inconsistent finishes. You can't necessarily rely on him. And Austin Hill is the guy who raises the concern, right? But like I just got done saying, I talked myself out of betting on Hill over Mayer. So if I was, and I'm going to make a case for Hill here in a bit as well, but if I was able to talk myself out of taking him in a head-to-head, then switching it around, getting it at plus 280, when really the Dinger and the Smith part of this are the parts you feel comfortable about. So you're breaking it down to a Mayer versus Hill head-to-head at that point. You're getting it at plus 280, then that makes it worth it in my opinion. So, yeah, I think that, again, you laid out the whole case perfectly, and that's exactly what I agree with. Hill is the guy that makes you pause, but at the price, I still think that it's good. So I'll go with you there as well. This next one, excuse me, I'm going to take John Hunter Nemechek over Ty Gibbs plus 115 over on Superbook. I don't love to do this because Gibbs could come out and lead every lap of this and dominate this race. But that's what I said was going to happen a couple of weeks ago. And what happened? He came out and he dominated, and then he got a penalty and he didn't get the finish. Like, it's not a guaranteed thing. And so you're going to give me, the two best, in my opinion, the two best drivers in this race, in the two best cars in this race, out of the same house. So they're the same cars, same equipment. And you're giving me the guy that continues to win week in and week out, continues to be the best car week in and week out. And then you're giving me the guy that's coming down into the rotating car he's not in every week, all this stuff. We know how talented Ty Gibbs is. I get it, right? But you're giving me two equals. One of them is at plus money. So I will take the John Hunter Nemechek side of things. You go back and you look, so Gibbs has been in 3 Xfinity Series races this season, hasn't won any of them, despite me picking him multiple times, unfortunately. He has not won any of them. He finished 4th here last year, only led 4 laps. So again, it's not like he dominated here last year. Now he's coming back down to dip in and get it again. So that doesn't inspire a lot of confidence there either. John Hunter Nemechek in 8 races on true ovals, quote unquote, this season, he hasn't finished worse than 6th in 8 races. He continues to be the best car week in, week out. And again, 2 very great drivers, right? They're Gibbs probably obviously a little more talented, but fairly equal as far as drivers go in the same equipment. And then you're giving me the guy that's at the same team every week in the same car in his series where he's more comfortable at this point in time at the plus money side of things. I'll take that. Give me John Hunter Nemechek over Ty Gibbs. As much as it pains me, again, I love betting on Gibbs so much. And I've made a lot of money on betting on him this year in the Cup Series, but not this week in the Xfinity Series. So give me John Hunter over Gibbs plus 115 for the value.
It's like an old school last season Xfinity bet. We were taking Hunter, Gibbs and Nemechek in head-to-heads. It feels a little old schoolish for these guys. But, listen, and that's the thing too. When you're struggling in one side of it, and I say struggling again, we talked about it yesterday in the Cup Series when we talked about Ty Gibbs. We say struggle. He's still finishing in like the top 20, just shy of the top 15. Like, for a rookie, that's not necessarily a struggle. But for a guy like Ty Gibbs, who came out and did well right out of the jump, kind of set the bar high for himself and not necessarily kept up that same steam, right? That's a struggle. So when you're struggling in one and you're jumping back into what is supposed to be an old familiar ride, sure, but you've just spent all of your time and attention trying to get better in the higher series. For a veteran to come down, that's one thing, right? I mean, those guys, it doesn't take much muscle memory for them to jump back up into their normal every Sunday ride and do what they do every Sunday, right? But for a rookie that's still getting used to the Cup car, and I say that again, you can be like, oh, Rod, well, he's been there for a season and a half. Well, yeah, but some of the other guys in his same stable have been there for 15 plus years. So those guys can come down a lot easier than somebody who has been there, only a year and a half. So yeah, again, it's tough, but for John Hunter Nemechek, that's his everyday ride. I mean, he has no other distractions. He's been winning. He's been a top car. So I definitely like the Nemechek side of that, just from the sheer standpoint of Gibbs has been struggling already, and it's shown. So I'll take that all day long as well. All right. I did not set out to become super JRM heavy this card, but I'm telling you right now, this became JRM, and so I don't know how.
As you mentioned that, and I looked through this, every single one of your bets is JRM based.
It is.
Every single bet you're placing.
It is, and I did not mean for that to happen. So
that's actually impressive.
Yeah. I found a way to bet on every JRM driver,
and in different ways, and make every bet at least related in some way to JRM. I like it.
Yeah. Like I said, I did not mean to, but the books kind of led me to that as well. Plus the stats led me to this as well. It's not all the books. I mean, the books gave you the right price for it, but the stats led me to it. And what I mean by that is I have Josh Berry as a top 5 car this week in Nashville. He did it in 2021 in the race here. He finished in 4th. Came from 22nd to finish 4th in that race. Unfortunately, though, in 2022, he started 9th and ended that day 29th. So problems for Josh Berry in that regard. But look, for Josh Berry, this has been a guy that obviously when he came up into the Cup Series to fill in for whoever he was filling in for, did such a fantastic job. And, his finishes have sort of been indicative of him when he's in the Cup Series and when he's not in the Cup Series, kind of filling in. But he's been solid so many times this season, more than he really hasn't been solid. Average finish of 11th place this season, 10 top 10s in 14 races, 6 top 5s, just solid finishes across the board. Recently, bad finish in Sonoma. Unfortunately for him, he finished 33rd in that race. Not really something to write home about. 4th at Portland, pretty good run there. 15th at Charlotte. What I'm more impressed with, obviously, 7th place at Darlington. It's not a top 5. I get it. But it is a top 7. And I think he can maybe get a couple more spots. We've documented that JRM gets in their own way more often than they don't. But, I think Berry is a better driver to overcome that. 2nd at Dover, 4th at Martinsville, 3rd at Richmond, on and on, 5th at Vegas, 5th at Fontana. So several good finishes for Josh Berry this season, which is why he earned himself the fill-in spot up there in the Cup Series. Plus 100 for a top 5 finish for Berry. Top 5 odds are not necessarily all that sexy. So for me to be able to find Josh Berry at pretty much even money to finish inside the top 5, I'll take it. Like I said, I didn't mean for this to set out to be a JRM heavy card, but unfortunately that's where the stats and that's where the odds led me. So I'll follow where it leads, but to give me Josh Berry, top 5 car at plus 100.
There you go. Well, as we just talked about, he announced earlier today. Hopefully that's correct. Otherwise, we'll have to go back and cover over this, I guess. But right, he's got the 4-car ride now, going to Stewart Haas next season, riding the momentum of that. He's a Tennessee kid as well, hometown track-ish. I don't know how close. I think he's from Hendersonville, Tennessee. I don't know how close that is to Nashville or not.
It's pretty doggone close, actually. I've been there too, yeah.
Well, there you go. See, so it is a home track, home race. So yeah, again, and JRM, good, right? We just talked about Allgaier, how good he's been there. And JRM's been good there. So Chevy's been good there in general. Hendrick has been good there in the Cup Series side of things. So yeah, I think that that's a good call on Berry. Again, plus money. Can't argue with that. You're right about the top 5 market. It is pretty tough. I did find one I like, though. Austin Hill, top 5, plus 170 over on Caesars. Again, this guy just gets disrespected every single week by the books. Doesn't get priced appropriately. It's ridiculous. He finished 8th place last week at Sonoma. Prior to that, 4 straight top 5 finishes. 7 of 14 races this season. So half of the races, he's been in the top 5. That includes 4th place at Dover. Again, a concrete track earlier this season. And he finished 8th place here last year. And that was before he became the Austin Hill that he is this season, right? He's a much improved driver, and much. I don't know if that equipment's just gotten that much better, but everything about that 21 program so much better this season. And so yeah, so Austin Hill, a top 5 machine, one of the more consistent drivers. He's not the big flashy name, right? He's not John Nemechek. He's not Josh Gray. He's not Justin Allgaier. He's not Ty Gibbs, but finds a way. He's going to be 5th to 10th all day long, put himself in position. He's going to be there close to the top 5 at the end of this thing. I think he can get in the top 5 at plus 170. I like the odds on him.
Yes, I do too. Well, and I said that he would be the one guy that would make me really I would not be surprised if he was the winner of that Group C. But I really did, like I said, like the Mayer version of that one better, and the odds for Mayer better than Hill.
And this potentially is a good way to either double dip or hedge on the Mayer group bet, right? Because if Hill gets a top 5, you cash the plus 170. So if you miss out on the group bet, it's not as big of a hurt. Or Mayer finishes 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or 1st, right? And Hill finishes 5th or whatever order, but Mayer finishes ahead of him. You cash both of these, and it can be a pretty solid payday.
It sure as heck can. All right. I am going to, it's breaking my heart to say this one. This one hurts more than it probably should. I'm going to take Brandon Jones over
Who's
Sheldon.
That?
Who's that? Yeah, another JRM driver. In fact, Brandon Jones.
Oh,
Again, I didn't mean to do it. I honestly,
I can't wait to hear your argument here because it's been a rough season for Jones.
It's been a rough season for Jones, but it's also been a rough season for Creed. As far as just being able to just finish races the way he needs to finish races. Like that's, he's from Alpine, California. Like I said, my favorite Canadian that's not a Canadian, that's from California, almost in my backyard, has had some fantastic starting positions. In fact, he's only started outside of the top 10 twice this season. Cody, did you know that? Twice he started outside of the top 10 as Sheldon Creed. But his average finishing position, 15th. Like that is exactly what hurts. Now, granted, over the last couple of weeks, he's actually had salvaged some decent finishes. He was 11th at Sonoma, 7th at Portland, couple of road courses, but Charlotte 28th, Darlington 25th, Dover 11th. Okay. Martinsville 27th, Atlanta 21st, Fontana 23rd. I mean, we talked about it. It's rough for Sheldon Creed to just do things on the track anymore. And he just gets caught up in stuff that isn't even his own doing. In fact, that's what happened for him last year. His only race in Nashville, started 19th, finished 36th. He wrecked 124 laps. He ran in this race last year. Just horrific luck for Sheldon Creed. But for Brandon Jones on this track, he finished 14th in 2022, 6th in 2021. Yet another JRM driver that knows how to get around this track. Obviously, he was not in JRM equipment back then. He was in Gibbs equipment. You could argue that he's actually in better equipment this year than that Gibbs equipment. I know that's a pretty stiff argument to make, and you could probably sit there and put boxing gloves on and argue either way. But I will say that JRM, especially on this track, I think has the edge. Now, you're going to shoot back to me. Okay, Rod, you just named off all of Sheldon Creed's stuff for this season, and all you have for Brandon Jones is 3 top 10 finishes in his starts, 1 top 5 finish. I get that. I understand. I do. But you got to turn it around sometime, right? You got to figure it out. And I think this may be a track in which he's able to put together a solid run. We may see Brandon Jones get back out there. Again, this is my JRM heavy card, so I had to put Brandon Jones in there somewhere. I'm going to take him over the unlucky Sheldon Creed. It hurts. And I don't care. Look, you can probably take the other side of this. I wouldn't be hurt. But the Jones side of this is at minus 110. So, I like that it's not necessarily all that juiced up. But yeah, I don't know. It's probably the hardest one for me to take, but I'm banking on Creed running into some bad luck and Jones just running a smooth, solid race all the way through.
This is the battle of whose bad luck will be less bad, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
that's it. That's what it is.
I can't argue with anything you said. And man, I want to see Brandon Jones be successful in that 9 car so badly. I want to see Sheldon Creed be successful in that 2 car so badly as well. Man, this bet, oh, it's a tough one. But again, I don't have any arguments to the points you made. I think they're all valid. And man, betting on Sheldon Creed has made me, or betting against Sheldon Creed made me a lot of money over the past 2 years, because it's been so rough for him. I hate it, but that's been the case. So yeah, no arguments here for me. Next up for me, John Nemechek, top 3 plus 110. Rod, you're giving me the best driver in the best car at plus 110 for a top 3 finish. I don't really know what else to say. Like, yes, please, I'll take it. Thank you. That's it. That's all I have. I mean, you already know how I feel about John Nemechek. We know he's the best car on the best team, one of the best drivers. I know Allgaier is going to be good this weekend. I know Ty Gibbs is going to be good, although I just made the case for him to beat Ty Gibbs. He's going to be one of the top 3 cars, in my opinion. A plus 110, it's a no-brainer. And yeah, so give it to me.
Yeah, plus money for that is 100% the way to go. And really, again, sometimes you just have to pick the price that's right. And John Nemechek at plus money for, I think, anything on this track is a good price for it. So I like it as well. All right, I'm going to give you yet another winning car bet. Stop me if you've heard that bet before. And I almost kind of don't care at this point. You can probably lock this one in. It's like my Red Bull fastest pit stop for F1. I'm just going to keep giving it out until it stops hitting. But yeah, I definitely think the winning car will be odd in this race.
Hey, Rod.
Yes,
there's
yes,
four.
Cody,
there's 4 JRM cars. How many of those cars are numbered odd?
Let me think. All of them. In fact,
well, 3 of them.
No, because I'm gonna count one of them as odd. I don't care. They're all odd in this instance.
But anyways, this is how he makes it a JRM bet, even though it's not a JRM bet.
Yeah, well, Josh Berry is odd. I don't get 8 is odd for this race. No. So Sam Mayer obviously in that mix. He's in the 1 car. And then Justin Allgaier's in that 7 car. Brandon Jones is in that 9 car. I don't have my beep button, so we're not even going to care about who's in the 11 car. Ty Gibbs, though, in the 19. Austin Hill in the 21. All of those cars, in my opinion, have probably the best opportunity to win this race. All of them are odd. The person that I'm going to give you at the end of this is odd. So I really do have a heavy feeling that an odd number car will end up winning this race. Granted, there's more even numbers out there, I think, with the opportunity, but I think the greater opportunity comes from those in the odd cars. And really, if you want to get froggy with it, find the under 9, camp in there if you want to get down in that and
another
really
way
lock
to bet
in.
on JRM.
Another way, the only other way to bet on JRM as well.
All 4 cars are 9 or under.
Yeah, they didn't give me that option, so I'm not taking that. But yeah, I like the winning car is odd at minus 110.
Yeah, I looked at this one and I think odd is probably the way to go. John Nemechek being the one guy that makes you pause, obviously, in the 20 the most. But odd is definitely the loaded side of this. So I'm glad you brought it up, because I do think that probably is the right call. I'm giving out 3 winners. 2 of them are in odd numbered cars. So there you go. I
love it. See, there you go. That's all it takes is just for an odd car. I mean, that's almost half the field anyways. So minus 110 for half the field. I love it. Speaking of love, I love that you're watching this on YouTube right now. I love that you have taken this ride with us on YouTube and put up with the fact that I'm in this hotel room that I'm in right now, and that you can see Corey LaJoy is an odd number driver and an odd driver nonetheless. He's just a fun, odd guy to cheer for. But yes, for those of you who are watching on YouTube and have been watching on YouTube, been supporting on YouTube, thank you so much. Please do YouTube things to keep this thing going, right? Like, subscribe, comment. Obviously, commenting is really what makes the YouTube algorithms happy, makes the bosses happy. It makes Santa Claus happy, I don't care. Makes the grandmas happy. It just makes things happy, right? Flowers grow, sun shines when you comment on our videos. So please continue to keep Mother Earth happy by liking this YouTube channel, doing the things you got to do. Goddamn, Cody, will you shut me up, please?
Every time you like a NASCAR Gambling Podcast YouTube video, a grandma smiles. So that's all you need to know.
We're not telling
I was
you.
going to say a grandma eats her wings, but that could be taken the wrong. That could be taken the wrong way.
No,
might not be a
no.
good thing. So we're
Where's
going
my
to get the
beep
smile,
button?
right?
Yeah, we can't. Grandmas love the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. So help keep them company by putting your YouTube channel on there. Grandma gets her.
Yes.
Who's going to win this race, Cody, before we just make people so uncomfortable?
Well, Rod, you know who's going to win this race. It's John Hunter Nemechek. Again, the best driver, the best car, the best team. Been the best all season. And he's at 5-1. What, are you kidding me? He's the third favorite to win this race? What? I don't know what I did to deserve these beautiful, nice gifts from the books, but maybe it's because I'm going to a legal state this weekend. They want to take more of my money. You can have all the money on John Hunter Nemechek, 5-1 over on Superbook. It just makes way too much sense. Again, he is so good. You're getting that discount because of the Cup Series guys, or at least one of the Cup Series guys in this. And then obviously Allgaier's 1.5 average finish over the last 2 seasons helps put him up there as well. But give me John Hunter Nemechek, 5-1. Austin Hill, 12-1. Again, much like the Bowman thing yesterday, although Hill's won 3 races or whatever already this season, puts himself in the right place at the right time. We hit on him earlier this season. I don't remember, was that at Las Vegas? I can't remember where it was, but where he passed as a white flag was waving, ends up winning the race. He was a long shot that day. He continues to be long shots, continues to be disrespected by the books. Just talked about it, right? 4 straight top 5 finishes prior to last week's 8th place at Sonoma. He has been good. He's been consistent. Give me Austin Hill, 12-1. Carson Hocevar, 25-1. I think he's worth it for a long shot. Also an odd-numbered car in that 77. Talked about how good he's done, right? A 6th place and an 8th place in his last 2 Xfinity Series starts in that car. Basically a JRM car, right? We talked about that. Rod's all in. All the chips are Rod in on the JRM cars this week. Give me the pseudo JRM car. Give me the store brand label JRM car, Carson Hocevar. He's 25-1 over on Caesars, and I feel like that's a solid long shot.
Store brand labeled. I love it. Yeah, and I can't, like I said, I can't argue with you on that one. Austin Hill, obviously, for sure. John Hunter Nemechek at plus 500. That's a hell of a steal. That's definitely
you're good. If Gibbs was not in this race, John Hunter and Allgaier probably are both like plus 250. So I mean, his odds are almost, in my opinion, they're probably doubled just because Ty Gibbs is in this race. And that's not enough for the odds to have been doubled. So it's a gift to get it at this price.
Yeah, well, and I mean, just along those lines, it's a gift to get Allgaier at plus 350, which is where I'm going to go with that. I talked about him as a top 3 finisher. All those stats apply into my thinking that he's going to repeat here at Nashville as the winner. Listen, here's the thing about it, right? With Justin Allgaier, obviously, and the numbers back it up, that he is capable of just dominating this race, this track, this series, right? The only issue sometimes is that when JRM gets in their own way, a lot of these guys suffer the consequences of it. So as long as Allgaier can stay out of the fray, and in fact, we talked about it earlier this season. We said, Mayer, Barry, Jones, all those guys, when the fracas was happening, it was always with them. Allgaier was usually the guy that was able to stay above all of that and stay away from it. Maybe because he was farther up than the rest of his buddies, or maybe it's just because he was like, I know you guys are going to get in it. I'm just going to stay away from you guys, give you plenty of room, and we'll just continue to go on. But for whatever reason it is, Allgaier's been the one to be able to turn in the solid finishes all season long. And at plus 350, I understand that it's not the greatest of odds for an outright winner, and obviously there's sexier odds, but I don't know that there's too many other drivers that have a really good shot at winning this race, right? I mean, obviously Gibbs is one. Gibbs is the favorite though, and Gibbs could come and win this race. Absolutely, 100%. But if I'm picking somebody that's not Gibbs, it's going to be Allgaier, because I just really, like I said, feel like he's been the guy. He's been the guy who's been able to keep himself clean and keep himself in contention. Won here last time, has won within the last 2 races, runner up in the next race too. Yeah, there were road courses, but I guess when you get back on an oval, might even be a little bit better for him, right? A week off, week to rest, week to collect his thoughts, get back out there in the car. I like Allgaier. I like plus 350. That is my race winner.
Yep. Again, hard to argue against it, right? The last 2 races here, first and second place, you can't make an argument against that. He's been doing pretty good this season. Got that win back at Charlotte, so hard to argue against it. I think it's a John Hunter week, but again, yeah, I would not be surprised at all if Allgaier takes it.
But it'd be a boring show if all we did was just take each other's picks and just run with them the whole way. There's got to be a little bit of friction.
Yeah, and man, Xfinity, I'm telling you, Xfinity is where we disagree the most, and I love it. It's just kind of become a thing, and yeah, I enjoy it. We're on the same page on a few things, but yeah, I do think, again, it's been kind of a JGR, JRM type of battle this year, I think, between us, but I like it. I've been having fun.
Me too. All right. Speaking of which, get out your pen and paper. Have fun keeping track of all of our bets for this Tennessee Lottery 250 in the Nashville not Superspeedway, not in Nashville. This whole thing is a lie. But anyways, it's fun racing. We have got Carson Hocevar over Chandler Smith. Cody started you out with at minus 110 over on Superbook. I gave you Justin Allgaier as a top 3 car at minus 120. Cody gave you Sam Mayer over AJ Allmendinger at minus 110 on Superbook. I said that Sam Mayer was going to win Group C at plus 280 over Sammy Smith, Austin Hill, and AJ Allmendinger. Cody gave you John Hunter Nemechek over Ty Gibbs at plus 115. I almost said Joe Gibbs. That's funny. Over on Superbook. And then I gave you Josh Berry as a top 5 car at plus 100. Cody gave you Austin Hill as a top 5 car at plus 170 on Caesars. And then I gave you Brandon Jones over Sheldon Creed with a tear in my eye at minus 110. And then Cody gave you John Hunter Nemechek as a top 3 car at plus 110. I said the winning car was going to be odd at minus 110. And then Cody gave you John Hunter Nemechek at 5-1 on Superbook to win, Austin Hill at 12-1 on Superbook to win, and Carson Hocevar at 25-1 on Caesars to win. I said the number 7 car was going to be the winner, Justin Allgaier at plus 350. There is your card for your Tennessee Lottery 250. Cody, all that's left now is to get these damn cars on the track. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it. I'm excited. Again, Xfinity produces some of the best racing. And man, it's a wide open field. I mean, wide open after the top couple, right? We kind of have our pinpointed guys at the very top of this, but I think it's going to be a very good race. I'm super excited. We got bets all throughout the field, right? Brandon Jones, Sheldon Creed could be the battle for 25th, and we got some winners for you. So over the place.
Yeah, you got to keep an eye on AJ Allmendinger, who could probably end up being 25th as well. They'll be duking it out. So got you covered from 1st to 35th or 36th or whatever they got going on.
There you go.
So, all right. Well, Cody, let's go ahead and turn this one loose and get ready for our truck episode tomorrow night. So as we do, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Yep. Follow me on Twitter at Husker_Zeeb. You can find all my work over there. Got a ton of stuff going on. NFL stuff over there. Yeah. Follow it all there. Follow the show at NASCAR Gambling and get in the Discord. Join the conversation over there. Great conversation all week long. There's always guys chatting in there. Fun times. Get over there.
Indeed. Listen, for those of you who have just endured the not normalcy of the episodes this week, thank you. Thank you so much for just bearing with it. And look, sometimes you just got to go on the road and see what you can do. And that's what we're doing this week. So for those of you who put up with it, we definitely appreciate it.
Toss a like in there. Give grandma a smile.
Yes, give grandma a smile. Let her know that you still enjoy us, even when we are not in the confines of our own normal place. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bottom, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it is in between media. The back road is on this weekend. I will be there on Thursday to join Seth and Elliot. And then, of course, keep an eye open for Frequency's Sake on Twitter for my offering to them. I think it might be NASCAR. Maybe I'll just do a parlay of all 3 series. Who the hell knows? Let's get crazy with it. I'll have some fun. So, all right, we'll see you tomorrow for the Truck Series episode, and we'll break it on down for you there. And until then, let's go racing and let it ride.